Good morning, students. This is again module number 2, session number 5, video number 8 of 9 videos. In module 2, session number 5, we are going to learn about tone carrying words, hedging and softening, assertive versus tentative language, positive versus negative framing. Tone carrying words in professional communication, the outcomes. By the end of this video or the session, you will be able to recognize how words influence tone, use hedging and softening appropriately, distinguish between assertive and tentative language, frame messages positively in academic and workplace communication. I have a question for you. If you are receiving a message, I'm going to read 2 types of messages for you. Which type of message would you prefer to receive? First one is, your report is wrong, fix it immediately. The second message, your report may require few revisions. Kindly review the highlighted sections. So if you were to receive the message, which one of them will be more comfortable for you? If I were to receive the message, I would say the second version of the message is more comfortable for me because it appears a little softer. That is, your report may require a few revisions. Kindly review the highlighted sections. This appears better. Both messages have the same purpose, but which sounds more professional? I would say the second one sounds more professional. Now, the words we choose influence our message, how our message is received. In professional communication, tone is just as important as the information we share. How are we going to learn all this from this video? First, we will understand the topic, then the purpose of learning it, then when will we use it, and how should we learn it. We will learn through this video. First, for example, take first one, tone carrying words. Why should we learn tone carrying words? To choose words that create right impression. And when will we use them? We use them in emails, reports, presentations, and workplace communications. How should you learn it? Compare positive and negative word choices and observe their effect on tone. Students, all that you have to do is you have to start practicing them. You have to observe. You have to compare positive and negative word choices. Only then you will appreciate them. Next, hedging and softening. Why is that required? What is the purpose of it? To express ideas politely without sounding rude or overly direct. Of course, certain things we do want to convey, but then shouting at the face or talking in a way that the other person gets hurt is not proper manners. So, we need to talk politely without sounding rude or overly direct. So, when will you use it? When you give feedback, when you make suggestions, and when you are in professional discussions. How should you learn it? Practice replacing direct words with polite alternatives such as could, might, perhaps, like that. So you can make use of modal verbs and soften the sentence so that it doesn't appear rude. Assertive versus tentative language. To decide the appropriate level of certainty in communication. This is the purpose of it. And when will we use it? technical reports, meetings, presentations, and research writing. Then how should we learn? Identify when to use confident statements, when to use cautious language based on convenience. Positive versus negative framing. To present information constructively while maintaining accuracy. Performance reviews, customer communication, teamwork, and problem solving. So, how should you learn it? Rewrite negative sentences using positive solution focused language. Please note, while watching this video, refer to the section in the student vocabulary book. Observe how changing single word changes the tone. Add useful expressions to your personal word bank. Complete the LMS quiz after watching the video. Now, the big idea, same message, different tone. For example, in a situation like where you are giving a feedback, instead of saying your report is wrong, you could rather say your report may need some revision. In a situation where people miss deadline, instead of saying you missed the deadline, better say the deadline could not be met. When you're giving suggestions, do this appears imperative. Rather, you could say you could consider this approach. So, professional communication is not only about what you say, but also about how you say it. Now, tone carrying words. Positive framing and negative framing. Positive framing, opportunity. Negative framing would be problem. If you want to say something is a failure, positively say improvement is required rather than saying a problem. Rather than saying a failure. Then instead of saying negatively obstacle, progress, positive way of looking at it. Limitation, benefit. Decline, enhance. Some words naturally sound stronger, softer, more positive, or more negative. You should recognize that positive framing is often more constructive. Heading and softening directly. This is wrong. You can soften it by this may need revision. You failed is very hard to listen. Instead, the task has not yet been completed. This idea won't work. Instead, you can soften it or you can make it more polite. This idea might require further consideration. Common hedging words like could, might, perhaps, possibly, seems, appear can be used to make the sentences appear more polite. Remember, hedging is useful when making suggestions, discussing uncertain results, giving constructive feedback. Now, assertive versus tentative language. What is meant by an assertion? Something that we strongly want to impress is assertion. What is meant by tentative? There's a bit of doubt in what we say is tentative. The results confirm, that is assertion. Instead, the results suggest is tentative. This method will improve. When you are using modal verb will, it becomes an assertion. Instead, if you are using this method may improve, there's a tentative, a bit of doubt. It is certain that, instead, that is an assertive language. It is likely that is a tentative language. When should you use them? Assertive language established facts, instructions, standard procedures. You have to use assertive language. Tentative language, when you are talking about research findings, predictions, recommendations, and uncertain situations. Positive versus negative framing. We will take an example and try to understand it. The project failed because of poor planning.